The enemy launched a repeated strike on the Rozreserve oil depot in Proletarsk. At the moment, several dozens of tanks are burning. Fire extinguishing continues. In addition, Ukrainian units carried out a massive drone strike on Russia's border and rear areas. All targets were shot down, and an ATACMS missile was intercepted near Novochakhtinsk, Rostov region. The Krasnodar region also came under attack. The Ukrainian armed forces fired several Neptune anti-ship missiles at the port of Kavkaz. One missile hit a railroad ferry, which sustained significant damage and later sank. In the Volgograd region, the enemy attacked the territory of the Marinovka air base with drones. The ammunition storage and other buildings were hit. No information about lost airplanes. Meanwhile, Russian forces continued to strike air defense systems and radars in Kharkiv region. In Vilna, a Kh-35 guided missile destroyed a S-300 SAM system. Another P-18 radar was destroyed in Kamyanka. In Ternopil, Garan-2 UAVs hit several tanks on the territory of a local oil depot. The fire burned for 12 hours. Chlorine levels in the atmosphere were found to be several times above the acceptable limit. For the first time in a long time, Russian aviation struck Snake Island with a Kh-22 guided missile. In addition, several other missiles were fired at nearby drilling rigs used for the interests of the Ukrainian armed forces. In the North Ukraine direction, the AFU managed to reach Olgovka and Krasnoktiabrsko with heavy losses in Koronevsky district. In Sudzhansky district, fighting is going on for Malaya Lokhnya. From Mirny, the AFU attacked in the direction of Ruskaya Konopelka, simultaneously advancing on Cherkasskaya Konopelka. Southeast of Spalnoy, the Russian armed forces recaptured some of their previously lost positions. At the moment, fighting is taking place on the outskirts of Borky and in the Ozerki area. On the Slobozhansky direction, fighting continues in the area of Hlybok, where the AFU has been trying to dislodge the Russian armed forces from the village for several days. The enemy conducted several attacks, losing a total of at least 4 BTR-4s, but did not succeed. There were no significant changes in the situation in the Kupiansk-Svatov direction. Russian forces hit the Oskil River crossing in Kupiansk-Vuzlovyi twice during the week, disrupting the AFU's logistics in the area. In the Lyman direction, Russian troops continued to assault the AFU positions located on the outskirts of Makiivka on the right bank of the Zherebets River. Russian aviation, UAV, and artillery units struck at the enemy's temporary deployment points and river crossings. In the Siversk direction, Russian forces slightly expanded their zone of control in the Vimka area. Forward assault groups have entrenched themselves in the vicinity of the Vimka railroad station. On the Artemivsk direction, Russian assaultmen captured a group of enemy infantry in the Oktyabrski district of Chasov Yar. On the southern flank, the Russian armed forces expanded their zone of control by a kilometer in a westerly direction after the recent occupation of altitude 215. On the Oleksandrivske-Kalinove direction, Russian assaultmen advanced by a kilometer in the northern part of Kirove, gaining a foothold on Molodezhnaya Street. At the same time, to the south, the Russian armed forces have completely liberated New York, and fighting is taking place on the outskirts of Nelipivka. Over the next few days, Russian fighters conducted several successful assaults within the boundaries of Kirove and Druzhba. To the south, in Toretsk, assaultmen broke through enemy defenses on the side of the Artem mine and gained a foothold on school grounds. On the southern flank of Pokrovsk direction, Russian troops, taking advantage of the collapse of the Ukrainian armed forces' defenses, occupied Taik and half of Kalinov. On the western flank, the Russian armed forces are successfully advancing in Hrodivka, Krutyi Yar, and Krasny Yar. On the outskirts of Marinovka, and in Novogradovka, having taken control of about 40% of the town. On the Donetsk direction, Russian troops are advancing from the direction of Netailovo and Kalinove towards Karlivka. In the area of Krasnohorivka, the Russian armed forces attacked with a column of armored vehicles in the direction of the Zhukievsky Reservoir. On the South Donetsk direction, assaultmen reached country houses north of Kostiantynivka. To the south, the Russian armed forces conducted a series of attacks, gaining a foothold on a local farm. There is a relative calm in the Vremivka direction. Mutual shelling of positions continues. The enemy, after the loss of 𝐒𝐩𝐿 and Staromayorsk, expects a rapid intensification of the Russian armed forces' offensive actions. On the Zaporizhzhia direction, the enemy is pulling armored vehicles and 4 brigades of personnel to the area. The Ukrainian armed forces are preparing to attack in the direction of the Vasilyevka-Tokmak highway. Over 150 units of equipment have been moved to the Primorske area. On the Kherson direction, the enemy made another attempt to land troops on the Kinburn Spit. As a result of the coordinated work of UAV operators and artillerymen, the enemy's manpower was destroyed in its entirety on the shore during the landing.